I'm Lisa. I'm the Barefoot Pampered chef, and today is Thanksgiving. So I'm going to give you some tips and tricks about how I make my Thanksgiving a little bit stress-free. Because Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of the year because it centers around food and family. And the way that my Thanksgiving is a little bit less stressful is we include our whole entire family in on the preparation. So I'm in charge of the turkey and the stuffing because it's at our house. My husband does the gravy when the turkey's done because he uses the gravy, he uses the jus from the turkey to make the gravy. And this year he's actually making mashed potatoes, and I think he's trying his hand at sweet potatoes as well. Usually my aunt makes mashed potatoes, but she's going to my cousin's house this year. And so we have kind of a grandfathered in thing where each year you make the same thing, and whoever makes it best is usually the one making it. And they bring it, and if they're not coming that year, then someone else just takes over for that job. So it actually makes it a lot easier. My preparation for Thanksgiving starts about 5 or 6 days in advance because we get a giant turkey. So this year's big boy is 32 pounds, and he comes from the Lorain County Fair. So way to go, Lorain County Fair people. And someone's awake. The turkey, we get out at least 5 days before and put it in the refrigerator, or for us it doesn't fit in the refrigerator, so we put it in a cooler outside with ice in it to have that thaw. And then this year, Aiden helped me make the brine. So 2 days before Thanksgiving, we start brining our turkey. So this year our brine was a wine that I actually made myself. So if you need to ask me a question about that, let me know. Wine is actually fairly easy to make. And so I made my own wine, and we put in wine and apple cider. And there's a lot of different recipes on Pinterest that you can find for turkey brines. Mine includes allspice, star anise, cinnamon, cloves, just juniper berries, a lot of those really kind of Christmassy holiday spices going on. So you bring that to a boil with some salt, some citrus, and then what we do, the best way to do this is just go grab a 5-gallon bucket, a clean 5-gallon bucket, maybe just buy one, and put your turkey in it so that the cavity is facing upward. And then you're going to take all of your like vegetables or fruits that are in your brine and stuff that into the cavity, and then pour the rest of your brine over top of the actual turkey. Now, we let that sit for about 36 to 48 hours. So what we do is we cover up that bucket, put it right back into the same cooler, cover it with ice, and put it back outside because it's nice and cold outside, and it'll stay the correct temperature. But you want to make sure that your turkey is thawed before you do that, hence the fact of getting it out a few days early. So if you did not already get your turkey out, and you have a frozen turkey right now, I want you to get that turkey out immediately, run to the sink. I want you to throw that bad boy in the sink, cover it with cold water, and every 30 minutes I want you to change that cold water because that's going to be the fastest way to defrost your turkey. You really shouldn't have to do that, but if it's an emergency situation and you didn't thaw the turkey ahead of time, that's what you need to do. So today, this morning at 6 o'clock, because you want, if you're cooking your turkey at about 325, Butterball suggests on their website to cook it for at least 15 to 20 minutes per pound. So our turkey's 32 pounds, so it takes quite a while, and we actually do a little bit of a slow roasting technique, which we have ours set at 250, and we're going to cook it, we eat at 1. We'll probably turn it up sometime through the day here, but we're actually cooking it in a bag as well, so cooking it in a bag will speed up the process. So this morning, we pulled our turkey out of our brine, wiped him down, rinsed him off with cool water, dried him, and then what we did was I took fresh oranges, fresh lemons, and fresh onions, cut them into quarters, and stuffed them in. I do not stuff the turkey. I am on the dressing side because it has been proven that, playing over here, It's been proven that if you stuff the turkey, it messes with the time of cooking, and if you don't cook it completely properly, you have stuffing that has uncooked turkey broth in it, which is not healthy, right? Not healthy for uncooked turkey broth. Or you have really, really dry turkey, and cooked stuffing. So I do my stuffing separately, and we're actually going to teach you my Grandma Dee Dee's recipe today, because I believe that recipes should be shared, not secret. So once we get all that citrus and aromatics, and I actually did today I took a little bit of cheesecloth, and I put in some cinnamon, allspice berries, some Chinese 5-spice, and some cloves, and I tied that into a bundle and threw that into my turkey as well. So that's going to give the turkey a little bit more flavor. And then what I did, what are you doing? What I did is I took the, I'm doing a mayonnaise-basted turkey this year. So my mayonnaise had a mustard dry rub in it that I just bought store-bought. And I added Chinese 5-spice to it as well. So we put that all over the turkey. Make sure you get it up and under the skin. And then I put a cheesecloth over top of that to keep all of that moisture in. And he is just waking up, so this is... So I put the cheesecloth over it, and then we threw it in the bag. Make sure you read the directions on your bag, because it does say to poke holes in the top. I don't want your bag exploding in your oven. Thank you. And so poke a few holes in the top of it, close it up, and pop it in your oven. Now, with a bag, it's kind of self-basting. If you don't have a bag, that's fine, but you may want to baste it every once in a while to get that nice golden brown turkey crust on there. So we are going to talk about stuffing. So my friend this year is the Pampered Chef manual food processor, because I hate chopping up onions and celery and everything else that needs to go into this. This is actually really great for cranberry, and I'll show you here. I made a cranberry stuffing bread that you can find on Pinterest as well. So your manual food processor is great. You just throw in your onions, throw in your celery. You want to kind of show them how it works, buddy?
Yes.
All right. Here. So Aiden's going to show you how it works, because it's really easy, and he's kind of my little helper. That's all you do. And it's actually pretty good exercise, too. The other thing that was really my friend this year, handing me my 1 cup prep bowl, the 1 cup one, that's the 3 cup. Other one. The glass one, buddy. Give me the glass one. With the lid. Can I have the lid? This is my 1 cup prep bowl. So to make Thanksgiving a lot easier on myself, considering we have to wake up fairly early in the morning to get that turkey in, I started my stuffing kind of last night. Now, I didn't start cooking it. What I did was I set out my crock pot, and I'm not using the rock crock for this one, the Pampered Chef rock crock, just because I needed a little bit more in there, and I'm using that for something else. So in my crock pot, I actually put out my breadcrumbs and my seasoning, so all the dry mix, and I just put that in here and pop the lid on it. It's hot, buddy. And then in the refrigerator, I used my 3 cup prep bowl, and I put in all of my wet ingredients, sealed it up, and popped it in the fridge. And for anything else, I used my 1 cup prep bowls for my celery and my onions, and I popped those in the refrigerator as well. And so what that did is this morning, all I had to do was pour everything in, mix it around, and pop it on low. And so this will cook on low until 1 o'clock when we eat, and it smells amazing right now. I may actually have to turn it down to warm later. So to make my Grandma Dee Dee's dressing mix, which is what my dad loves and why we make it, I will tell you the secret recipe. So what we usually use is 2 loaves of bread, 1 white and 1 wheat. However, to save time and everything, I actually just use the Bags unseasoned stuffing mix and make sure that I get kind of a red and white, or a white and brown mixture of bread. So I pop that in here. Usually about 2 bags will fit into one big crock pot. Then the wet ingredients, 4 eggs and 1 cup of milk go into here. Oh, 2 cups of milk. I used 2. Yes, I used 2. 2 cups of milk and the 4 eggs go into here. And then she always used 3 tablespoons of poultry seasoning. And so the poultry seasoning, you can buy regular poultry seasoning, which I did, but I always add a little bit of sage and a little bit of thyme to that, just to spruce it up just a little bit. You also use a tablespoon of salt and a teaspoon of pepper. I use a little bit more cracked black pepper because it's my favorite. Then, with all of these older recipes, you tend to get things that you don't exactly know the measurements of, because they usually would use a pinch of this, a pinch of that, a bowl of this, a bowl of that. So in her recipe, she calls for a cereal bowl of minced celery and a cereal bowl of minced onions. So I've actually just gone with about a heavy cup of each one of the celery and the onions minced. And then she used 2 or more cups of water just to make it as moist as you want it. I do a turkey broth that I've saved from previous years and frozen, and I put that in there to give it a little bit extra flavor instead of that water. So the whole recipe from the top, 2 loaves of bread or 2 bags of bread, regular bread unseasoned, 4 eggs, 3 tablespoons of poultry seasoning, but you can spruce that up, 1 tablespoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2 cups of milk, a cereal bowl or a heavy cup of minced celery and minced onion, and 2 or more cups of a turkey broth. So I'm going to teach you how to make my turkey broth really quick, because everyone tonight that has a turkey at their house, they should be making turkey bone broth, right? We love turkey bone broth, right? Okay. So turkey bone broth, take the bones from your turkey. As soon as they're done roasting, you know, you're going to carve up the turkey and put everything on a plate. Take those bones, set them aside. Don't do anything with them until later tonight when you're completely stuffed laying on the couch and you have nothing else to do. Take your crock pot that you hopefully either cleaned from your stuffing or you have another one. Put all of those bones in. Don't worry about cleaning them, just put them in. And cover them with water. Just cover them. Now, turkey bones might float a little bit, so make sure you're not like floating them up to the top and not covering them. So just cover the tops of the bone. Pop that on low overnight. So if it's on low overnight, tomorrow morning you will have the most amazing turkey broth. And it's turkey bone broth, so it's very, very healthy for you. And then if you take those bones that were in the broth and put them in a baggie and kind of hammer them up so they're in smaller pieces, pop them in a dehydrator or in an oven on very, very low just to dry them out. And when they're really, really, really dry, you can pulverize them in either a food processor or something to that extent, and you can make really good bone powder or bone meal for adding to dog food or just giving some extra calcium and phosphorus to things. So that's a really good tip. Let's see, what else should I talk about? Oh, stuffing bread. I don't want to forget my stuffing bread. So I made this last night, and I made it on my large white round stone because that's really good for bread. And so this is just a wheat yeast bread. Yeast. So that's what that looks like. Yeast, yes. And you can find this recipe on Pinterest. Just look for stuffing bread. And the great thing about this is you take your yeast bread recipe, so whatever yeast bread recipe you have, and you add the poultry seasoning and the stuffing seasonings to it. So you're actually making stuffing in a bread form. So that's why I love this recipe. And I have to give credit to the people that put it on Pinterest. It's amazing. So you put in here, this is not the vegan version that I've made a couple days ago for a friend of mine. This one has sausage in it. It also has your celery and your onions and cranberries all as a stuffing. So you actually roll it out flat, put that stuffing down like you're making a cinnamon roll, and then roll it up, and you make it into a figure 8. So this is how it looks like that S shape. Make it into a figure 8, and right before you bake it, you just take cooking shears and cut about a ½ inch down just in an S shape. And that, when it bakes, will open up and show all those really nice, gorgeous fillings. It actually can set at room temperature wrapped for about 3 days. So I did make it last night. So today, right before we eat, I'll probably pop it in the oven and cook it for another 15 minutes just to get it warmed back through. I hope that I've answered a lot of your questions for prep. And it really just is mise en place, stuff in place, right? And getting everything ready a few days in advance, or just making sure that you can get it all ready. Now, for the dressing, or for the gravy, my husband makes the gravy, but what he does is it's just a simple roux. And what a roux is a thickening agent. So he uses a butter and flour thickening agent. Before I met him for Thanksgiving, we used to do a milk and flour thickening agent. So just 2 different types of gravy. They still taste great. You're still using the turkey broth with it. And so you take the turkey broth and you just kind of set it aside for a second. In the bottom of your actual roaster pan, just add some flour and some butter until it kind of cooks together, and then slowly add that turkey broth in until it forms a nice thick gravy. And that's where you're going to get all of your nice brown bits on the bottom of the pan, and that's where you're going to get all that yummy, yummy flavor. I'm not too sure about the sweet potatoes, but I know he's probably going to put marshmallows on top of them. I don't know where he is. He's probably downstairs. Is he going to put marshmallows on top of them? What? The sweet potatoes. I have no idea. He's making his own sweet potato recipe, so I can't talk about that. For mashed potatoes, get your feet off my counter. No. For mashed potatoes, we are going to do, shh, don't tell anyone. If you use the really good pearls from GFS, they actually taste a lot like homemade, and you can throw in a few, like 3 russet potatoes that are home cooked, and no one will ever know the difference. So that's a great way to do that. Aiden doesn't realize his head's getting cut off when he's doing that.
I know.
So hopefully you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And what are some tips? Do you have any tips for Thanksgiving? We'll say it louder.
That we're thankful for all people that come.
He said that we're thankful for all the people that come. So that is a very good tip. If you have anything else, just PM me or ask me in person, and I will get you some tips and tricks. But have a happy Thanksgiving, and may Pampered Chef make your Thanksgiving a little bit easier. And I am now going to go disinfect my counter because it's got feet on it.
It's not your counter.
Okay, over it. Feet over it. You can find all of the Pampered Chef items on www.pamperedchef.biz /Lisa Wright, LISAWRIGHT. You can find me on YouTube at #BarefootPC, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at #BarefootPC as well. He hit the light. And I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving from our family to yours. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.
Don't fall.
Have a happy Thanksgiving.